not yet believers, it's very simple. You're going to have a court date, we all die, and you're all going to meet the supreme judge of the universe. Justice is getting what you deserve, which is going to a not so good place. We're all sinners, and we all fall short of the glory of God. But thanks to the cross, a perfect, loving God who came down in human form, human flesh, lived a perfect life and died for us so that we can live forever. At that moment, we're about to get that sentencing into eternal damnation. Somebody says, no, I know him. I know her. Welcome to eternal life. You have an opportunity. The gospel in 4 words is Jesus took my place. 3 words is him for me. 2 words is substitutionary atonement, and 1 word is grace. Grace, you cannot earn. Grace, you do not pay for. It doesn't matter how much money you give to the hospital. You can't earn it. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if you have always done the best you can, because what's different about Christianity is that it's a gift for all of humanity to receive regardless of everything that we have done. And your life will be transformed. You will be born again. Grace is not earned. It is given by a God who loves you and wants to spend eternity with you. It is the most important decision you can make in your life. Here I am. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, if you have any question or doubt about who Charlie Kirk was, that's your answer. Whatever your politics, a young husband and father's public gruesome killing is a human tragedy. To those dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave, this violates a basic moral flaw. Every person has inherent dignity. Mocking a killing treats a human life as entertainment that stands obvious, abandons a fundamental norm of civilization, that people are ends in themselves, not props for mine or your side's triumph. It erases the grief of spouses, children, parents, and friends. Real people who will carry trauma for years. The fact that the death is political doesn't change its human reality. It is especially cruel to ignore that behind the public figure is a private family. A wife is widowed in her 30s. 2 toddlers will grow up fatherless. Celebrating his mother mocks their grief as much as his death. Even those who strongly oppose his political stances should recognize that no child deserves to hear their father's death cheered. Show respect for the innocent left behind. The celebration of an assassination is dehumanization in its pure form, and it fertilizes the ground for more harm. When you try to justify your public glee at Charlie's assassination by claiming that he was an evil fascist and racist, though everyone with 2 ears, 2 eyes, and common sense knows you are not only lying, but you are projecting and trying desperately to justify your upside-down worldview. You will only succeed in inviting escalation. A very imminent consequence of this is that it will force cycles of dehumanization, which will make more violence a likely outcome. When people dehumanize an outgroup, viewing them as racist, fascist, and all the other buzzwords and mantras, support for retaliation and harsh treatment shoots up after violent events. Social media supercharges our worst impulses. Online environments lower inhibitions. They call that online disinhibition effect. It makes people say things behind a screen they never say face to face with a grieving family. These platforms also reward outrage. Posts that spark anger and contempt get more engagement, which teaches users to post even angrier content next time. Sadly, that reward loop doesn't just reflect us, it trains us. Engagement systems amplify emotional, outgroup, hostile content and pushes audience towards harsher views of their political opponents. That design choice turns the death of a person into a viral morality play, where cruelty is an online growth shortcut. No side has monopoly on violence. That's not a cliché, it's a warning. Political violence is stochastic. Once it's normalized or legitimized by one camp, it tends to spread. If your norm becomes their deaths are deserved, that norm will be used against you the next time tragedy strikes your side. Keeping the line bright, no cheering for harm, is enlightened self-interest. Political violence doesn't stay confined to one camp. Today, it may strike a conservative leader. Tomorrow, a progressive one. By mocking Charlie Kirk's death, people are normalizing behavior that could just as easily be turned on their own allies in the future. In that sense, refusing to celebrate violence is not just a moral stand. It is a practical safeguard for every community. What you are doing not only dishonors the dead, it also misleads the living. Gloating collapses a complex human being into a symbol, making it easier to attach lies, conspiracy theories that swamp honest grief and fact-finding. That dynamic was already visible around this case, with rumors and misidentified suspects spreading fast. Another reason to resist the instinct to perform cruelty online. It's inhumane to dance on someone's grave. Even if you disagree with their ideology, it separates personhood from politics. A son, father, husband, and friend existed before any of these labels. Death ends a life, not a debate. It makes widows and children collateral damage. Public mockery multiplies their trauma and communicates that their pain is acceptable because of their loved one's views. It licenses and justifies reciprocal barbarism. Once celebrating death becomes fair game, the only limiting principle is, do we think they deserve it? And that's how society slides from disagreement into vendetta. It spreads and sticks. Outrage and cruelty travel farther online than empathy. Algorithms and audience feedback make sure of it. Rather than partisan scorekeeping, condemn the violence without caveat. Political violence and glee at death are evil, full stop. We need to center the bereaved. We need to direct attention to the family's loss and to verifiable facts, not only speculation and gore. We also need to withhold engagement from cruel posts. Don't quote, tweet, or dunk. That only boosts reach. Starve them of the algorithm oxygen and gas that they seek. We need to use counter-speech that humanizes, because evidence suggests empathy-based counter-speech can reduce hostility, model grief, restraint, and respect for life, even for adversaries. You need to at least call your own side up. If you can't, call them out. When allies cross moral lines, correct them privately or with non-performative public messages aimed at standards, not shaming. Reaffirm cross-partisan norms. No celebrating injury or death. No excuses. Make it a community rule you would want applied if the victim were your friend or family member. None of this requires agreement with Charlie Kirk's ideas. It requires agreement that every person's life has worth, that the bereaved deserve compassion, and that a nation cannot out-hate its way to peace. Honor the dead by refusing to dehumanize the living. Even in the fiercest ideological battles, there must be a line we do not cross. When we celebrate the death of an ideological rival, we aren't just targeting them, we are wounding their family, their children, and their community. Upholding shared humanity in moments of tragedy is what separates civilization from savagery. This is the principle of our shared humanity. One of the most corrosive things about celebrating someone's assassination is the conditional empathy it implies. Your suffering matters, but theirs does not. Selective empathy hardens society into rival tribes, where compassion only flows inward, never outward. History shows that once this mindset takes root, cycles of violence become self-perpetuating. That is the danger of selective empathy. Now, voices with large platforms, whether media, political, or cultural, carry the responsibility of shaping norms. When they mock or gloat over death, they signal to their followers that cruelty is acceptable, multiplying the harm. Strong moral leadership means modeling restraint and compassion in precisely these moments, not joining the mob. What sets apart a just society is not how it treats those it already agrees with, but how it treats its opponent. By refusing to mock death, by condemning violence consistently, we demonstrate that America is greater than its divisions. We show that we can disagree fiercely on ideas while still honoring the dignity of life. Let's reject cruelty and embrace compassion, even for those with whom we disagree. That is how we preserve not only our nation but our humanity.